and as you can notice, my glow is always full. Every punch is topping up my glow, and I have so many evade effects and ricochet. You can see them triggering all the time. Hey fellow Vault Dwellers, it's Angry Turtle, and today I have for you a Feral Ghoul. A melee build for the Ghoul that is kind of semi-lazy build. There's very little things that you need to do. Most of the stuff you don't need to do, and it works perfectly fine. You don't need to worry about your health, about your hunger, about anything, and the damage is just there. You don't need to worry about the feral meter because you don't want to charge it up. So yeah, it is semi-lazy, I would call it. It's not fully optimized to be as easy as possible to run. That's not the goal. We still want to have some fun, but yeah, it's how it is. Let's start now with special distribution for melee build. Before application of legendary perks, we have max out strength, as that's important for damage. That's melee. More strength, more damage. Legendary perks, I do have additional strength. It's not really necessary. It's a little bit of extra damage. Does it let you add any more perk cards, as we are going above 15? Therefore, this is just for a little bit of extra damage. Taking one for the team, very good for any tank type build, and standard luck, agility, intelligence, endurance that I do have in here. If you are relatively new to the game, you can absolutely play Feral Ghoul. It's super powerful, even if you strip it to the bare minimum. And you will need to strip it to the bare minimum if you are new, but it will still work. Now, perks, what and why. So under strength, you may notice I didn't manage to squeeze faster swing speed, just because now it's so many good perks for the Ghoul, especially a Feral Ghoul. So Bone Shatter for extra limb damage, only rank 2, as there is no room. Incisor, that's the key perk for damage with all melee weapons, so we must have it. Barbarian for extra tankiness. Break Wall, it works all the time. 0 staggers as a melee, this is amazing. And our self-charging glow will keep Brick Wall running all the time. Arm Skipper to carry more stuff. Blocker for tankiness, and Scatter Shot. Yes, it's actually surprisingly useful on a Ghoul. So Scatter Shot is in here on a melee Ghoul, and yeah, works. Tested, works really well. Tormentor will increase our damage thanks to the Scatter Shot, so we do have Tormentor under Perception. Concentrated Fire for occasional use of a ranged weapon when necessary. Rarely, but sometimes you just need to. Refractor for extra resistance, extra tankiness, and Rad Riva. That's the perk that keep our glow recharged on the daily basis. No need to consume any toxic goo or stuff like that. With exception, of course, of boss fights where you may need to use a little bit of extra help from a toxic goo, but only on the tough bosses. Endurance, max out 15, so we are super tanky. Life Giver for extra health. Fireproof for extra tankiness, Glowing Gut for this toxic goo, Ironclad for more tankiness, Adamantium Skeleton so our limbs will never break, that in combination with armor, and Thick Skin for extra tankiness. Adamantium Skeleton, very important. If you rely on the glow and you don't use Stimpaks, you need to make your limbs immune to breaking, as glow do not fix your limbs. Unlike in a TV show, where becoming a Ghoul does fix your limbs. Not in here. Charisma, Strength in Numbers, and Tenderizer. No Ghoul specific, and recently it's not so easy to find Ghouls to team up with. If that changes in the future, I would add those Ghoul specific perks. At this moment, Ghouls are relatively rare. Intelligence, Science. More energy damage, works with all melee with energy damage, including Auto Axe. It can be swapped if you prefer to use more of a fire damage to Pyro perk. Patches included to carry my fusion cores and other cores that I cannot store. Makeshift Warrior, so our weapons basically never break. White Knight, so we don't need to worry about continuous armor fixes. Those are quite annoying. I do not recommend playing regular armor without White Knight. At least from my experience, this is important to have. Agility, we do have Adrenaline for Killstreak, more damage, Packing Light for a little bit of extra AP regeneration, just 1 point cost. Evasive, we are relying on evasive effects a lot to reduce damage taken. So evasive here, moving target, more evasion when sprinting. Dodgy, so there is no cooldown on evasion. Gold legs for jumping, and hyper reflexes, so even more evade chances when the glow is high. Our glow is always high. So all the perks that say when the glow is high on this particular build, super easy to use. It doesn't really require manual management of the glow, what is important for me. Ricochet for tankiness. 4-leaf clover, that's for occasional VATS usage. 4-leaf clover and concentrated fire, this is a combo of 2 perk cards that do allow feral ghouls to use VATS. Junk shield for tankiness. Faulty spots for more damage. Bloody mess for even more damage. Class freak to reduce side effect of mutations, and therefore more damage, as those side effects will cut our damage by reducing our strength. And good with salt if you want to keep your food for longer. If you don't particularly care about the food, this is not necessary. You could swap it for whatever else. Now, mutations and gear. So first, you need to be feral for our meter at 0. That's our main bonus to the damage. The gear. Mutations. Gear in a second. Mutations. Adrenal reaction for more damage from kill streak. Bird bones for lower fall speed. It's not really necessary if you don't want it. You don't need this 5 points of agility very badly, but it does help. The extra agility is more action points, therefore our evade effects can trigger more without draining your AP to 0. So I would keep it. Not necessary if you really care about 1 extra strength, but I would keep it. Carnivore, that's the recommended mutation if you are melee. I'm a Megavore, so I do have both, but Carnivore is what you need. You don't really need Herbivore. You don't need to be Megavore. Chameleon, there is no side effects, so I have it. No positive really either. It's just 1 more mutation for mutation count. Eagle Eyes. Extra perception, crit damage that only comes into play when we are occasionally using the range weapon. But penalty is just 1 strength. I can live with that. Egghead for extra energy damage. Herbivore as I'm Megavore. Herd mentality, free special, always take it. Marsupial for jumping. Scully skin for tankiness. Speed demon to move faster. And twisted muscles, that's important for limb damage and melee damage. I do not have the particular mutation for unarmed attacks, as it's not really necessary, even though I do have an armed weapon and I'm using. So let's cover the gear. What I do like, weapon-wise here. I do like Juggernaut's effect, as that's consistent about 50% or above 50% bonus if I use the food to boost my health. Therefore, yeah, Juggernaut's quite reliable, especially that we are a full health, so we cannot use Bloodied. The Furious requires stacking, so we are not using Furious in here. Junkies, something like that we could use and get 100% with multiple addictions. Is it worth it? I don't think so. So just easy prefix, Juggernauts. Extra weapon speed, weightless on some of those. Then Bullies. Bullies is the easiest 4-star to obtain and does work with Scattershot, so we do have even more damage. That's legendary effects on most of the weapons, with exception of this combat knife. Yes, that's a combat knife with Nuka Shank, knife skin. So that's my combat knife for crippling enemies and having some fun. It's a tiny knife, but works. That works whenever there is daily that you need to cripple something. This combo does a great job. The Trident, which is a Warglaive. That's a skin for a Warglaive. That's our ultimate weapon. That's the strongest one. Strongest weapon. I do run it with weightless. If you want more damage, you can add strength. But I have so many weapons, I need to somehow store them in my stash box. So weightless is very handy for me. Lightweight weapons. Juggernauts, weapon speed, and bullies is almost all of them. Exception will be only my Auto Axe. So Auto Axe is for bosses when I really need high DPS. Auto Axe, Furious, Heavy Hitters, Strength, and Pounders. This is an absolute beast. That's the key for the damage. But I only use it for bosses. There's no reason to use it on regular enemies for me that do die from a single power attack with a trident. Therefore, that's for bosses. Occasionally, if I need to cripple a limb, let's say of the Scourge Beast, to make her land, I will use this 50 cal in VATS. With limb damage, Furious, less AP cost, and Conductor, so I can keep firing it. Armor. So I do run Torn armor, although it's not necessary. You don't need to run Torn if you don't want to. It is a light armor, which is important if you want to use evade effects with dodgy. Light armor reduces the cost of dodging attacks, so that's quite important for me. The extra bleed damage is nice, not as important. It's Vanguard's strength and through Haika. And lastly, Bruisers. Bruisers is barely noticeable, to be honest, but yeah, that's the only 4-star that makes sense. So that's the perfect set. The most important for your armor, you need to choose one that can have strengthened mod on all 4 limbs. Therefore, your limbs will never break. The chest will be the only different one. I have asbestos lining here. If you choose to use armor set with a jetpack, then you can use jetpack. But the only medium is civil engineer with a jetpack. There is no light armor set with a jetpack. So dodgy will be a little bit more expensive. Under armor, as usually, Secret Service, that's extra strength and endurance, or that we really need. At this moment, I don't have any food boosting my damage. So you can see I do have some food running, like pemmican and some carry weight stuff, but not much really, almost nothing. Company is still running a little bit, but nothing to boost my damage. No strength bonuses, no damage bonuses from food. Now, how well does it work? Maybe first the annoying flying creatures. Let me show you that. So annoying flying creature and full power of auto axe later to take it down. So this 50 cal is used for that, so I can target a wing and fire, and eventually I will cripple that. Did I? I think I did already. She did flew away, but crippling the wing on the Scourge Beast is the way to force her to land. I want to force her to land, not to run away. Yeah, I did cripple the wing, so then she will land. Yet there it is. Correctly. If I want to use Auto-Axe, I need to change my view, my perspective, and that's the damage. Like, there's no problem damage-wise without any food, without any additions with Auto-Axe. But for regular enemies, I can even use the Gauntlet. Like, if I want to use the Gauntlet, here you go. Power attack with the Gauntlet is absolutely brutal. 1 to the torso does that. Without power attack is enough too at this moment. Yes, with some kill streak stuck. And as you can notice, my glow is always full. Every punch is topping up my glow, and I have so many evade effects and ricochet. You can see them triggering all the time, avoiding getting hit. And now let's do a little bit tougher enemies, our favorite super mutants. And you may wonder why I do not have a power attack perk for Ghoul specific one. That's because I don't want it. It doesn't work with Auto Axe anymore, and Auto Axe is my hardest hitting weapon. Therefore, I don't want it. When I'm attacking with regular melee, like my trident, let me equip my trident. With regular melee, like this one, and I do the power attack. If I do the power attack with this weapon, look at the damage. The damage is more than sufficient to take down level 100 super mutant, and I am charging my glow with those power attacks. If I would equip this perk, I would be draining my glow with power attacks, and I don't want that. I don't want to drain my glow. I want to charge my glow. So look how well Trident goes. Now the Gauntlet, power attacks with Gauntlet on level 100 super mutant, almost enough to put it down. So this requires 2, but it does cripple them. And the dog is enough. Then my little knife that normally I'm not using on super mutant, that's for weaker enemies like ghouls and so on. But it is a crippling knife. So look what it's doing. Like to the leg and then to the head. That's fun. Like that's, if you intentionally want to have a little bit more fun, and play with them like that. You can grab the knife, and it is, because you swing more often, it is recharging way more glow for me, as every swing is charging the glow. For maximum glow recharge, I would be looking for a fast swing knife, but I don't need as much glow recharge, to be honest. The trident already recharged good enough, and the gauntlet, so I don't really need more of the glow recharge. But I do occasionally can use this crippling damage. Now about the trident, regular attacks, even without power attacks, after I do have my kill streak loaded, and if I hit the head, that's one hit. If I don't, but they did ricochet some attacks on themselves already, then that's enough. So that's enough, and kill streak going. The legendary one, obviously they are a little bit tougher, so two swings, like we are not shooting with a trident. I wish there would be a trident that can shoot enemies. This one cannot. So yeah, ricochet, absolutely brilliant. And I think if I aim for the leg, maybe that's enough to get one without almost. Like there's a little bit different damage to the torso and to the leg. I don't really know why, but yeah, there is small difference depending when and how I hit the super mutant. With any food, single swing would be enough. A reminder, I'm running that without any food, so I want to show you that it's easy to manage. Like on daily basis, I will not use any food anymore. The feral ghoul has enough damage. The only reason I would use food if I'm trying to go and slice some bosses with auto axe. Outside of that, I do not need any food. And if you wonder about my light, that my Mr. Fuzzy mining helmet providing this awesome bright light when I'm inside the Westec. Switch it off, switch it on. And that being said, this is everything about Feral Ghoul build. Let me know what you think, and as always, thank you a lot for watching, and see you in the next one.